Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 3 of the Pop Punk Podcast with me, T Will Official, and my G-ass co-host, Mr. Daddy Mush.
Well, thanks for that crazy introduction. I appreciate it. But what's up, everybody?
What's up? What's up? Now, before we get started, I want to you see the episode name, so you know what this is about. But before we get started, I just want to kind of ease in. I figured this could be a nice little segment to start each episode out with. What have you been listening to this week?
Well, actually, believe it or not, all today I've been listening to Simple Plan.
Very nice.
In
Any
particular, the No Pads, No Helmets, Just Balls album.
That's probably my favorite album by them.
Well, I mean, it's a pretty easy choice for guys of our taste. I mean, it's a pop punk banger.
Oh, I
It's
know.
definitely a top 15 album all time for me.
I love the song "God Must Hate Me" because if you didn't know any better, you would just assume that he was like 15 years old. You would not know that he was like 23 when that album came out.
I know, and I also enjoy the song "My Alien." It's a pretty weird love song about how he falls in love with an alien. It's just goofy, simple pop
Oh,
punk
I know,
fun,
dude.
and
Yeah, I
it holds up.
love, yeah. Simple Plan. I feel like they kind of get like not like thrown to the wayside. Like they get brought up, but I feel like they're kind of just like there. Like when you talk about like the top 40 bands, it's like like you got your Blink and your Sum 41 and like Good Charlotte and everything, and then Simple Plan's kind of like just there. But like, dude, I love Simple Plan. They're probably one of my favorites when it comes to like the top 40 stuff.
Oh yeah, I mean, no pads, no helmet, just balls. It holds up. It's not like because of nostalgia. Like I was listening today, and like this is good stuff. Like it holds up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, really good stuff.
hmm And
Uh,
of course, just my usual shuffle. Just surrender for the third week in a row. I listening to this band called A Day at the Fair for like the first time, like really, because I heard about them on like a kind of had a drive through records compilation
okay.
disc, and they were on and it had the song Coda on there. I thought it was really good, but then they just kind of randomly popped in my subconscious on a drive home from Newark the other day because I had to drive to Newark, and then I just been listening to them for a bit. And another band called the F Ups, which I liked them when I was like 12, but now I'm listening to it again. It's not really my taste.
Yeah, I think I know exactly what you're talking about because I think one of their songs, I think it's called like The Lazy Generation or something like
It's on
that.
Burnout.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It constantly makes its way into like my Discover Weekly and my Daily Mist, and I'm like, like cool.
it's fine.
It's definitely a little more like skate punky,
Yeah,
which
but it's
is
just
yeah. Like
it's just
I don't hate skate punk, but like yeah, it's not my favorite.
it's fine. Like I definitely I always say there's a reason why you don't listen to things for years because if you still like them, you will still be listening to them now. You just don't forget things you liked.
Yeah, that's true. Although I will say sometimes when I don't like stuff, it ends up being more nostalgic than when I did like something. Like in Rock Band, dude, like the fucking songs that I didn't play for like years and years in like Rock Band 1, the songs that I like didn't like. If I come back to it and I'll play it later, I'll be like, "Yo, I remember this song." But like yeah, if I play like Dead on Arrival, like that's not nostalgic because I still listen to that song. I listened to it probably like a couple days ago at the longest. But
Yeah.
like yeah, like that like weird like map song. And I'm not trying to say like it's necessarily a good song, but like when I played it in Rock Band, I was thinking like, yo, this kind of takes me back to when I was like, like 12, 13 playing Rock Band for like the first time and avoiding this song in the career mode.
Yeah, it's just funny because like you look at the band, the F Ups, like they all have like mohawks and are really trying their best to look like true punk rockers. But you listen to like the lyrics of their songs about like how he's mad that his dad's making him do chores. It's just like a giant like I don't understand the demographic they're going for.
Yeah, I don't know either. It's weird. The
Just
Lazy Generation songs is okay. Like I don't think it's in my playlist. Maybe if I'm like, maybe when I have like 2,000 songs in my playlist and I'm really scraping the bottom of the barrel. But it's not in my playlist, but it's also not a song that, like, if I'm in the car with somebody and then they put that song on because they like it, like, I'm not going to go, ew, what the fuck?
yeah, like I was just because that's another band that I was like my drive to Newark because I have like 5 hours to myself. So I was just kind of thinking about our conversation about burnout, and I look at the soundtrack. I'm like, oh, I remember I used to listen to that band quite a bit when I was like 13, 14.
Yeah, and then you listen to it, you're like, now I
That's
know
what up.
why I haven't listened to them since I was 13,
Yeah,
14.
I almost had that album, but my mom refused to buy it for me because of the name.
Yeah, I remember when I was like maybe 12 or 13. Cause like they let me like listen to my music and stuff in the CD player, and I had Take Off Your Pants and Jacket, and the song Shut Up came on. Now, for those that don't know, the song Shut Up is a very vulgar song. The first lyrics of the song are, "Shut the fuck up," she said. "I'm going fucking deaf." I remember my mom, because she wasn't driving. My dad was driving. My mom turns her head so fast and looks at me. And she's like, "What are we listening to?" I'm like,
Art.
I didn't fucking know. Yeah, exactly. We're listening to art.
Social commentary.
Exactly. But yeah, no. So I mean, like, she let me get the CD, but then like she wouldn't let me listen to it in the car. I had to listen to it on my own time.
Yeah, I feel ya.
Yeah, on my end, believe it or not, I've actually been getting kind of into the emo rap. I'm not gonna lie. Uh,
I know.
I've been listening to a little bit of this dude called Lil Lotus, and
Okay.
Lil Lotus is actually the lead singer for If I Die First. His actual music, like it's it's very heavy on the emo, very light on the rap. Like there's hip hop beats and everything, but really he's just kind of like singing like pop punk songs. Like his stuff is like over like electric guitars, and it's pretty like pop punk, pretty like mall emo. Just the only difference is just like the little hip hop beats instead of like
Yeah.
that was my impersonation of pop punk drums.
Oh, well, I mean, I got the general gist of it on my end, so don't worry.
Yeah, so that's kind of what I've been listening to. I've also been listening to a lot of the same as I was saying last week. That song Skittles, because I really like that riff. A little bit of Homegrown, mainly the song Cross My Heart, which
That is also in my recent thing. Is just that EP in general when it all comes down.
yeah. Hold on, I'm gonna pull up my Spotify. I'm gonna show you what my first like top 3 songs are in my on repeat. Hold on, guys. I'm just pulling it up now. Pulling it up on. Okay, so. Okay, so my actual first song in my on repeat is a song called Hear Ye by Konix. Okay, so I first heard this song on YouTube. It showed up in my recommendeds, but it was called Thomas Jefferson Type Beat. And yeah, it was like making fun of like like just like the beats they put on YouTube, like no lyrics. It's just like beats, and it'll say like like sad, depressed type beat or like
Hmm.
upbeat type beat. Well, this one came up. It was Thomas Jefferson type beat, and it was like it was like some like 18th century like na 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 over like over like a hip hop beat, and I thought that song was hilarious. So I've been listening to that a little bit. So that's actually number one in my on repeat.
Oh,
And then after that, it's "I Don't Even Like You" by Lil Lotus, which is probably my favorite song by him. It's actually very very good. And then "Where Needles and Lovers Collide" by If I Die First, which I remember in episode 1 we were talking about how like emo rappers they might start like just putting out actual pop punk and like post hardcore albums. Well, If I Die First is actually kind of that. Like it's a bunch of emo rappers. Like I said, Lil Lotus is the lead singer. It's a bunch of emo rappers, and it's actually I think a few members from first to last are in there too. And it's just pure like 2006 era like post hardcore. It's amazing.
yeah. Sorry about disconnected for a bit there.
No, it's okay. It's okay. Um, but yeah, so that's pretty much what I've been up to. I've also been listening to, and this is actually the perfect segue into the episode. I've actually been listening to a little bit of Future Idiot's cover of Cynical.
Okay, that's good.
I really enjoy their cover. I think I actually like it better than the original. Cause with the original, Well, with the cover, they actually kind of put in a little bit of Bohemian Rhapsody in there, which I really
Yeah,
like because Bohemian Rhapsody is probably the biggest blue balls on that entire album. They play that little cool ass riff where it's like, and I'm sitting there, I'm like, yes, this is fucking amazing. And then it's a 30-second joke song. But they take that riff, and that's like the riff to like their version of Cynical. Like it plays Bohemian Rhapsody, it does that little riff, and then it kicks in to Cynical is probably my favorite song, my favorite like actual song off that album, because Bohemian Rhapsody's got to be my favorite. Just because even if it is a joke song, and even if it is, in my opinion, the biggest blue balls in music, at the very least, the biggest blue balls in pop punk. Uh,
yeah,
and
and it's
still, those 30 seconds are awesome.
yeah, and I realized that I guess I don't know if it was coincidence or they heard the backlash, but when they did the California like deluxe edition, they try to throw a little slimy riff almost like every other song to kind of like compensate for it. But when you do it that often, it doesn't become cool anymore. It's kind of
It's like we were saying with last week with the K of B. If everything's in B, nothing's in B, and I know that's factually incorrect, but it's an artistic statement. Okay, it's a
yeah.
metaphor.
It's like when everything's beautiful, nothing's beautiful.
Exactly. And I remember thinking the exact same thing. I was like, because like Parking Lot had it. I don't. I think Wildfire had it.
Yeah, well, me honestly, I
Pretty
probably
much.
listened to that deluxe edition like 3 times, and I probably haven't listened to it ever since. So
Yeah, I listened to the more pop punky songs. I mean, I don't really listen to it too much anymore. But I like when it first came out, I listened to the pop punky songs a little bit because it was kind of a mix between like pop punk and like weird like alternative pop almost. Like I don't really know how to describe it.
yeah,
But
it's just that signature Blink sound they got going on now.
yeah, yeah, which we are definitely going to be getting into. And yeah, like I remember Wildfire I liked when it came out. Um Looking back on it, like it's kind of whatever. Like it's not one of my favorites. It's not in my playlist. At least I don't think it's in my playlist. Parking Lot, okay, Parking Lot would have been cool if Matt Skiba sung the whole thing.
Yeah, because it just sounded like Mark Hoppus's verse is just like a completely different song. It feels
Completely
like
different song. And he's like talking about skateboarding at the fucking
Target.
Target, even though he's like 45.
Yeah, I mean he's like 48 right now. It's like, okay, guy. First of all, you're worth like $80 million. I don't. Pretty sure you have a private skate park if you really want to skate.
I know he's talking about like sneaking through some girl's window. I'm like, guy, you're almost 50. You don't need
Like
to sneak anymore.
girlfriend, dog. Like that's suspect, man. I mean you're like 50, bro.
I know. What would you say if you just saw a 50-year-old dude sneaking through, like not even your house, right? Like you see it happen to like one of your neighbors' houses. You just see like a 50-year-old dude like climbing through their window. Like what would you say?
I don't know, a 50-year-old dude with the most receding hairline in denial in history of mankind. I don't know.
With his fucking faux honk, but it's also
Yeah,
like a receding hairline.
yeah, but that's just to cover up the receding hairline because he's out here going, "Hey, look, see, I got a cool punk haircut. It's not my hairline at all. How it's supposed to look."
Yeah, what would you say if you just saw him like sneaking through somebody's window, right? Like,
Uh,
like I don't know.
911. I don't know.
I don't know if that song's supposed to be like. I don't know if the song's like supposed to be set in like the 80s when they actually were teenagers, or if it's like supposed to be them in the present day. Cause
I don't think we'll ever know that question.
yeah, I don't think we'll ever know that either. Like at least Matt Skiba's verses, like I mean, they're still kind of like they're talking about like like taking down the parking lot and shit. But his was more like a reflective, like memory type of way, like looking back on like when he was a teenager. But
Yeah,
then
well,
Mark's out here talking about like I'm skating at the Target curb and
and
sneaking
Matt
through
broke
your
his
window.
wrist. That means, I'm pretty sure Matt Skiba and Mark Hoppus weren't best friends at 15. So he's talking about right now in 2016, 2017, they were skating together. Because why would he say Matt broke his wrist?
I don't know. Maybe a different Matt. Maybe it's a coincidence. I don't know.
I mean, it is a common name, but
Yes, it is.
still, though.
Yeah,
Oh,
no, that shit is ridiculous.
corny.
And And I think another thing about Parking Lot that like kind of because when it like first came out, I was like, "Yo, this is actually probably the best song off of California," and it's not even on California. But then I remember one thing that kind of killed Parking Lot for me was when Goldfinger put out their 2017 album, The Knife. Now,
Yes,
okay, so I'm gonna give you guys a little rundown. Okay, so California and their newest album, Nine, was produced by John Feldman. Okay, John Feldman is also the lead singer and I think like rhythm guitarist of
yeah,
Goldfinger. And once upon a time, Goldfinger was like his main gig, but now he's actually like a pretty like famous producer.
yes,
And yeah, I no disrespect at all. The man's chasing his bag. Um, but yeah, so nowadays he's definitely way more like popular for producing. He's produced for All Time Low, now Blink, 5 Seconds of Summer.
Panic at the Disco.
Yeah, Blink is definitely his most high profile, but I think 5 Seconds of Summer was probably like right up there.
Mhm.
Panic at the Disco, like you said. I think
Good Charlotte.
he even produced for Black Veil Brides. So he goes all over. He
Yeah,
doesn't like discriminate. He'll do any genre.
yeah,
Um
Godsmack, 311,
yeah, and
Prelude.
back in the day he did Mess albums like they're pure like pop punk albums from like the early 2000s.
Yeah, like, he did all of them essentially till they broke up originally, till, like, the first breakup, and he also did, uh, he also helped co-write Good Charlotte's The Young and the Hopeless, and he co-wrote some songs on The Chronicles of Life and Death, and he was also on The Used, and he was also a writer and producer on Hilary Duff's album, Most Wanted.
Yeah. So basically, if you're into the pop punk scene or like I guess like the scene pop for lack of a better term, like like Panic at the Disco and stuff, then you know his name because he's probably produced something that you've listened to.
Yes, he's
And
essentially the rock version of Max Martin.
yeah, pretty much. Yeah, he's the scene Max Martin, we should say.
Mhm.
So yeah, so like what kind of killed Parking Lot for me a little bit was Goldfinger's 2017 album, The Knife, came out, and it sounded exactly exactly like California. And I'm not just talking like the guitars and everything. Like he even like auto tuned his voice. I feel like at some points to sound like Matt Skiba.
Yeah, like
And
yeah.
yeah, and it's just got me thinking damn, either the knife is full of California leftovers or California was full of the knife leftovers. Um, I wanna throw out there. I actually think John Feldman has very little, if anything, to do with New Blink's kind of like I don't want to say downfall because they're still very popular, but my personal downfall with New Blink. I think John Feldman again. He's just a man trying to chase his bag. If you were a producer and Blink called you up to produce with them, like you wouldn't
And
say no, right?
co-write.
Yeah, and co-write because that's another thing that I forgot to mention. John Feldman is a very hands-on producer. Like if you hire him, you're essentially hiring a fourth, fifth band member.
Yes, because he outside of, like, one song on Nine in California, he has co-written every single Blink song he has been a part of since 2016, except for that On That Emo stuff, or like that song name is on Nine.
Yeah, yeah, on some emo shit.
Yeah, he has co-written every song with them since they hired him, so I mean
Yeah. And yeah, and he has a very distinct style too. At least new John Feldman does, because like John Feldman off of like Mest's albums, like that just sounds like Mest. But
yeah.
current day John Feldman definitely has a unique style. And again, I'm not trying to bash John Feldman. Again, I think he's just a man chasing his bag. I respect it. But he does have a very unique style. Like if you listen to like any of 5 Seconds of Summer's like older like pop punk songs, right?
Yeah, the Sounds Good, Feels Good album in particular.
Yeah, you listen to that. If you listen to California, if you listen to The Knife, they all sound very similar. The only thing that's different is who's singing the vocals.
Yeah, like, they all sound the same, like, all the songs sound just void of any creativity and, like, soul, for a lack of a better term.
Why? Yeah, I mean, I
Well,
guess
in
I wouldn't necessarily
particular,
say that, but like you could definitely tell he's a pop producer for first and foremost because he does produce a lot of pop stuff, and yeah, his pop punk is very, I guess you could say, like poppy too, not in like a neon type way, but in like it's kind of hard to describe. But like yeah, it's definitely like he definitely produces it like it's pop for lack of a better term. I don't really know what I'm trying to say. Can you help me out here, sir?
I don't know. I mean, his just the tone of everything sounds the same. The guitar tones, the little woes, the vocal
That's
melodies.
true. Yeah, that is very true.
Like, listen to like the Knife album, and then listen to California, and the guitar just sounds like it just got ripped straight from California. Like, I understand they're the same producer and the same songwriter, so it would make sense why it would have a similar sound. But it just sounds like
Yeah, like
you really can't distinguish when one ends and one begins.
that's true. Yeah, if not for the vocals, yeah, you would not be able to tell the difference. And again, yeah, he has his own unique style. I respect it. But yeah, no, like if anybody ever wants to know what what a John Feldman production sounds like, I just show them Put the Knife Away and I'm like, here's the blueprints.
Yeah, it's this literally like the same song.
Yeah, like you're gonna get maybe like the over like some skate punk beats like
Some
and then
whoa
yeah, you're gonna get
whoas.
some whoa, and then you're gonna probably for the chorus they're gonna probably slow it down a little bit on the drums, and yeah, and it's gonna be like the like it's like that for like a lot of his shit, and like he'll put like little traces of like distinctness in there. Like Blink, they have their joke songs, which I am very opinionated on, but we're gonna get to that in a minute.
Yes, so am
With
I.
Goldfinger, they have their like ska-ish sound. Although on the Knife, I would say it definitely sounds a little more reggae at parts. 5 Seconds of Summer have that kind of like boy band charm to them. Even though I guess they're a little different than a boy band, but they're in like the same ballpark. So like they kind of have like he puts that like boy band charm into their music. So they have little bits and pieces, but mostly yeah. Like if something's produced by John Feldman, you're gonna be able to tell.
Yeah, he just has that distinguished John Feldman tone for better or for worse, depending who you are.
Yeah, and like I said, I respect John Feldman. Like I'm not trying to rip into him too hard. Like he just has his own unique style, and again, I would not, I don't fault him at all for wanting to produce with Blink because I mean I'm sure they pay very well,
Yes,
and B to be able to say I produced Blink-182, like that's
and co-write.
that's gonna get your name even more out there. Even though I would say at this point he was already probably
Yeah,
pretty famous in the producing scene,
yeah. I mean, he was already
but
doing stuff that were like the producer and co-writer he did for like Disturbed, Immortalized, like #1 and went platinum, and he was already with 5 Seconds of Summer and All Time Low, and he co-wrote a song with Avicii and Black Veil Brides, and
Avicii,
yeah. But I'm just
yeah.
saying, like, like Panic at the Disco, like his discography or credits have already been extremely impressive and extremely high profile before Blink. But now
Yeah,
that he
yeah.
does Blink, he just does all the pop punk stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So it elevates his name even more, is what I was trying to say. So like, I respect a man on the hustle. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
No, I think my issue is Tom DeLonge's split because I don't think necessarily that Tom was the mastermind behind all Blink songs in the '90s and early 2000s. But I think Tom was kind of the one keeping them on track a little bit from just going like full pop, hiring a producer like John Feldman, and
Or
like
five or
all
six
that.
songwriters.
Yeah, he was kind of keeping it like keeping that
Art.
like traditional Blink sound in check. But with him out of the picture, Mark Hoppus, he just hires up Matt Skiba, who is just a yes man, and like I completely understand why. I'm sure his bank account has like tripled since joining Blink.
Oh yeah,
So
for sure.
I'd be a fucking yes man too. Like I'm not trying to I'm not trying to say there's anything bad with that. And again, I don't fault Matt Skiba at all. But he like Mark doesn't really have anybody to keep him in check. Um, like I guess Travis could probably do something, but I'm sure Travis. 'Cause I know Travis is like real into like the pop and like hip hop scenes.
He just chases the
So
bag too.
yeah, he's just a man chasing his bag as well. Um, so with that, like I don't know, I feel like Mark's kind of taking him just into full blown pop territory.
Yeah, like he wants to keep his stardom to poppiness. But I guess before we get a little too in depth with that, how about we just kind of kick back to the different eras of Blink and our favorite albums and songs by them before I go in full blown conversation mode, as you know.
Okay, yeah. All right, so my favorite Blink album, probably Enema of the State. I know that's a pretty like basic answer, but you know what? I love it. The songs are banging.
It's
Dysentery,
great.
Gary, Mutt, Going
Anthem,
Away to College, Anthem, Dumpweed.
um, they're all great.
Yeah, the only song I like skip if I'm listening to the album front to back is Adam's song. And that's not even because I think it's a bad song. For what it is, I think it's still very good. It's just sad. So I got to be in like the right mood to listen to it. If I'm just like driving around, I'm not going to want to drive around sad as fuck.
I guess you have a point there, yeah.
So yeah, that's the only song I skip on the album if I'm listening to it. And it's not even because it's a bad song, just the whole album is good. Like I said last week, I even really like all the small things. I know a lot of people within the scene, they tend to veer away from that song. But I fucking love it. It like, dude, it like put them, it put them and it put the genre on the map for a few years.
Yes, that's when pop punk literally became
Yeah, like
another pop genre.
yeah, it made it fucking mainstream. Because before that, like they made some waves with like Dude Ranch and Damn It and everything, but definitely not to the level of all the small things where they were on like MTV and like all that shit for a while.
Yeah, I mean, no, Dude Ranch topped at like 67 on the Billboard 200 charts, when I think Enema of the State was like top 20, top 10.
Yeah. And like I said, I'm not trying to discredit Dude Ranch because like 67 out of like that's saying it's the 67th best album of that year,
Or
which
most popular per se.
yeah, most popular, yeah. Which might not sound like a lot until you realize how many fucking albums come out every year. There's a ton.
Yeah, but yeah, that's just the 67th that week. You know what I mean? It could be even albums from last year. I'm pretty sure Michael Jackson's Thriller is probably number one for years, probably.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I'm not trying to discredit Dude Ranch. It definitely made waves because 67, like that's not nothing. But like, yeah, Enema of the State, and in particular, like all the small things of What's My Age Again and stuff, definitely brought them to like a whole new level.
That's when they became legit celebrities.
Yeah, exactly. Legit celebrities.
I mean, they were in American Pie, as we said last week.
Yeah, they're in a not just their song, but like they were actually in it. They played some of Jim's classmates when he's
Yes.
when he's like on the thing with Nadia and he accidentally like uploads the thing to the whole internet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I was just saying, yeah, man. I mean, just saying, Enema it took the world by storm. I mean, it sold 15 million units worldwide. It's insane.
Yeah, and like I said, like I know if any younger viewers are watching, right, and they're thinking like they're not like understanding like the magnitude. What's My Age Again? And and I think like the Rock Show and all they were on Now, which Now is like a compilation of like the biggest hit songs of like that like 3 or 4 months, all put together, and it's usually it's like pop music and all that, but that's just how big that shit was What's My Age Again. All the small things definitely was on there. The Rock Show, I'm pretty sure, was on there. It's not Blink, but Fat Lip was on there too. So that just kind of shows you how
And Bowling
big
for
the
Soup too, as
like
well.
how yeah, Bowling for Soup was on there. It just shows you how big the genre was in the early 2000s.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So Enema of the State is just a classic, just for what it did to the genre and the scene. Like many people got their first taste of pop punk through Enema of the State, including me, which my brother had the CD in '99. I was 4 years old, and my mother didn't like it because the first song was Dumpweed, and, it's one of the more cursy songs on the album.
Exactly. And I remember, yeah, my first foray into the genre was I had those Now CDs when I was little, and What's My Age Again was on, I think, Now 3. It was either Now 3 or Now 4. One of them had What's My Age Again, the other one had All the Small Things. And I'm talking about the American versions, okay? Because I know we got some people in the UK that'll probably be like, well, actually, Now 3 came out in like the 80s. No, there's two different versions. There's one in the UK that's been going on since the 80s. There's one in the US that's only been going since like 98.
Yeah.
I remember I looked that up one night and I was like, holy shit, there's two different versions of Now. But yeah, okay, so Now 3 or Now 4, whatever one had What's My Age Again was my first foray into the whole genre. Even before like Tony Hawk, even before like all the movies I watched.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's just a big deal, Blink-182 was back in the day, and then Take Off Your Pants and Jacket was kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Kind of the same thing as Enema, but in my opinion, just not as good per se, and I don't wanna offend anybody who loves that album, because good for you if you love it, it's a great album.
Yeah, I mean it's a great album, but I'm definitely like if they continue just making Enema of the State Part 2, Part 3, Part 4, I definitely would have got a little old.
Yes.
But you know what? For like one album, I get down with it, especially because like some of the songs off there are really awesome. Like every time I look for you is probably I don't know if it's my top three for Blink song, but it's definitely top five, if not top three. Um, what else is on there? Roller Coaster, I really like.
I like Story of a Lonely Guy, it's probably my favorite off the album.
Story of the Lonely Guy's another banger. Shut Up. Like I said, I just remember my mom turning her head so fucking fast in the car. What are we
I
listening
enjoy the
to?
I enjoy the Tom songs probably the most on the album, like, I also love
Yeah,
Reckless Abandon and, Give Me One Good Reason,
I
those are probably
was
my 3 favorite on that
I,
album.
I was just about to say, give me one good reason. I remember I had that riff stuck in my head for like months. I couldn't think of the song. I knew it was Blink because it just sounded like Blink. But all I had stuck in my head was the part where it's like dun, 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 dun. I had that stuck in my head for like literal months, and I was like browsing through their whole fucking catalog trying to find what song it was.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good album, it's a great album, actually.
Yeah, it's a very good album. I
It just,
I agree. Yeah,
the
it's
singles didn't really do it for me, though, like how Enema did.
yeah. I mean, I like the rock show. First
Yeah,
date is cool too, but yeah, no, I agree. I definitely prefer the deep cuts, so to speak, off of that album more than I do the singles.
yeah, because that album, that was actually number 1 on the Billboard 200, Take Off Your Pants and Jacket, I guess following the success of, Enema, and it makes sense to kinda do the same thing after your breakout album if you want more sales, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, it definitely makes sense, especially because like Enema was kind of early. You know, it was kind of early to the whole thing. Like it came out in 1999, where I would say the peak of the genre was definitely probably like 2001, 2002. So it makes
Yeah,
sense. Like if Enema sold when pop punk wasn't even at its peak yet, then
well, it's what made it sell.
Enema put it on its peak. So if Enema could do that, then let's do the same thing, but while it's at its peak. I
Yeah,
don't fault the logic at all. No.
yeah, and also, I mean, it just makes sense. I mean, it's funny because like the rock show and First Date weren't even supposed to be songs, but because when they recorded the album and they showed it to the producers, record labels, and of course they think about their wallets, not with this music. They told them there was not enough like radio friendly songs on there, so like Tom DeLonge and Mark Hoppus just went their separate ways and wrote Rock Show and First Date respectively, and just went right there. And they're like, okay, there was the singles.
Yeah, it's kind of funny how that works. 'Cause I remember that happened with "Pour Some Sugar on Me" as well. Like I know that's not a pop punk song, but I remember I'm pretty sure the singer said he wrote it on the shitter in like 5 minutes, and it wasn't gonna go on the album. But they like the producer wanted like one more song, so he's like, okay, we can put this on the album, I guess. And then it ended up being their big hit to this day, still.
Hmm. Yeah, so there's that, and I guess after Tom secured that bag, I guess he let his artistic side really kind of experiment and take over per se because in 2002 when the genre was at its peak with like Good Charlotte, Newfound Glory, Yellow Card, Simple Plan, he cut out Racer.
I know. And you know
Which I
what?
think
Yeah,
it's like the first like mall emo album, honestly.
Boxcar Racer. I really like some of the songs off that album.
Well, yeah, I mean, some people, I'm not one of them, but I do love the album. But some people say that's actually Tom DeLonge's best work.
I know exactly who you're talking about too.
Yes, and don't get me wrong, it's a great album. I love it, but I honestly think it was kind of laid the foundation of like mall emo because that dropped in mid 2002 when pop punk was at its peak, and then 03, 04 happened, and mall emo was like taking the world over by storm. So I think something happened.
I mean, hey, could be.
hmm And then of course a lot of Boxcar Racer work turned into what we know as the self-titled or untitled album.
Yeah, which I
That's
remember,
grown on
like,
me.
I remember not really liking the self-titled or Neighborhoods too much back in the day. But looking back with hindsight, I'm kind of like almost glad that they did that because you know what? Because like if they just kept making Enema of the State over and over and over again, like it would have got boring.
hmm I mean, there's a difference between making a whole new album and then just adding things to make it keep it fresh, but still not abandoning a sound. I feel like that's where a lot of people you gotta find that fine line per se.
Yeah, and yeah, I definitely. If you said like maybe Blink did a little, it made it too different on the self-titled and Neighborhoods, then like you wouldn't be wrong for saying that. I don't mind a lot of the songs off of the self-titled. Like Stockholm Syndrome is a really good song.
Oh yeah, I
Um,
also love Easy Target.
Easy Target's another good song. Go's another
So
good song.
I like Here's Your Letter a lot.
Yeah. What else do I? Feeling This. I like.
And I
I
think my other favorite song off that album is I also love Esthenia, or I never learned how to pronounce that song name, but it's track 9 though.
yeah.
It has like that 1 minute space astronaut transmission intro, and of course I also enjoy Obvious and Violence too. That album has really grown on me over the years.
Me too. Like I said, like I didn't like it at the time, but I think yeah, looking back with like the benefit of hindsight, my perspective on that album's definitely changed a lot.
Yes, because and everybody keep this in mind because a lot of this is gonna kind of build up to the grand finale per se, but like I really enjoyed the Mark Hoppus songs on this album more. Like this is the first Blink album that I enjoyed the Mark songs more than the Tom songs
Yeah, because the Tom
for the
songs are
most
like
part.
the more like weird like artsy songs.
Yes, and you'll hear that post breakup with their other, genres.
Yeah, like a lot
And
of
it's, I
Tom
mean,
songs sound like like they definitely like laid the foundation for Angels and Airwaves. I would say.
a lot of the Mark songs just sound like a what you would be getting with Plus 44 in a couple years, you know?
Yeah, and I will say I do like the song Always. That's definitely a Tom song that I really like.
Believe it or
Um,
not, that's probably like outside of I Miss You, it's probably like my least favorite like hit of theirs per se.
yeah, and I actually I'm glad you brought up I Miss You because I did want to say real quick, depending on who you ask, that's their big hit too. Because I feel like All the Small Things is the big hit for like the older crowd, and then I Miss You is their big hit for like the younger crowd.
Yeah, like
They have two big hits.
oh,
They
I know,
have
it's funny.
I mean, obviously they have a whole bunch of hits, but I mean, like they have two like breakthrough, like
Signature songs.
smash hit. Yeah, two signature songs. Exactly.
Like it's I get offended when people because like I Miss You, it's like I don't really like it, and I get offended because when I used to work at the bar, we'd have like the jukebox and somebody would play I Miss You, and the manager's like, "Did you put this on?" I'm like, "No, no, 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 that's not my style, bro." I was like,
Yeah.
"I'm a Dude Ranch boy through and through." That's my favorite Blink album per se. 'Cause we kind of skipped over the whole Scott Rayner thing.
Yeah. So we could talk about Scott if you want to talk about Scott.
I mean, Scott, he's great. He's probably punching the air right now, like he has been for the last 21 years.
Yeah,
Uh,
true. Although I definitely don't think they'd be as big if they kept Scott, because I definitely think Travis is a big factor of like what elevated them to superstars.
Well,
Because
I mean,
I mean, you look at it,
and
Travis Barker is definitely like the biggest name of the three.
it's
Like
ironic because he's the only one who doesn't sing.
I know, yeah, yeah, he's very like. I actually think he's kind of keeping the scene alive because he's doing a lot of stuff with emo rappers. Like I know he. I mean, I guess MGK is not really an emo rapper, but to kind of like what I was talking about with episode one, like MGK is like pop punk song, and I think on his whole pop punk album, Travis Barker is playing the drums. I don't know if it's the whole album because the album's not out yet, but the song is out, and Travis Barker plays the drums on Bloody Valentine. And I remember he does a lot of stuff with just like a lot of like rappers in general.
Hmm.
Who he's worked with is escaping my mind right now. But like if you look him up on like Wikipedia or anything, you'll see he's very active
Yeah, I'm
in
looking at him right now.
like in the rap scene, and he does a lot of stuff in particular. Like, I know he does stuff with like emo rappers too. It's just who is escaping my mind right now.
Oh, he was on the Crank That Soulja Boy remix. Fun fact in '07.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah, he put that on YouTube, and it was like it was wild because it was like almost like metal his version of it.
That's saying a lot because that's Soulja Boy, man.
I know.
Like a modern day Will Smith, man, entrepreneur and everything. That's a different story for a different time, though.
Oh, I know. He's talking about the Soldier game console.
And Soulja Watch and Soulja Phone. But yeah, I mean, like I also think a lot of how we talk about like the one time where it's like looks have to do a lot with it. Cause I mean, Scott was just like Travis had like edged him. He looked cool. Chicks liked him. Guys liked him because how badass he was.
Yeah, his body is just
Covered in
fucking
tats.
tattoos.
And he has the
Even
hair.
yeah, even back then it was still covered in tattoos. Like I think he has even more now, but
Oh
like
yeah, he has
back then he
face
was
tattoos and
still
head tattoos now.
yeah, yeah. Uh,
Like,
yeah, he's definitely the biggest name from Blink-182.
and like
Uh,
Scott was just like he was just a guy. I mean, like he rocked polo shirts when he drummed.
yeah, and like obviously you can argue that like the actual music that they brought to the table, like that's subjective, but I definitely think yeah with Travis they're like the songs are definitely a little more like nuanced with Travis. And I'm not trying to say that Scott couldn't play the stuff that Travis plays, but like Scott would typically just kind of play the same like skate punk beat over and over again.
But also worked with the genre too. Like who
Well,
knows if he
it
would have
did
switched
like
it up.
yeah, because the Scott albums are pretty much like like
Pop punk, skate punk.
skate punk pretty much, yeah. But I don't know, like yeah, with Travis, like he'd all throw like these little crazy like fills in. And I mean, again, it's all subjective because you could argue that the drums with Travis are too busy, but he's always like throwing little crazy shit in the songs that just kind of help make them sound like more full, so to speak.
Per se, yes. Of course,
Yeah,
that has to do a lot with Jerry Finn as well.
yeah,
That's a different
that
story,
could
though.
be that could have to do with Jerry Finn, but
I mean, we're comparing apples to oranges. We can speculate all we want. We don't actually know.
yeah, we don't actually know, but yeah, my opinion is I don't think it's just a coincidence that they got big after Scott left, but I definitely think Travis joining had a lot to do with their superstardom.
Yeah, because I don't really know because I know like the early Enema writing was with Scott because there is a Mutt demo out there that has Scott on drums.
Yeah, I remember. It sounds like something straight off a Dude Ranch. And it's so weird how, like, yeah, just a change of producers can change a whole sound.
Yeah, I know.
Because the only thing that's, like, really different is just the drums are a little bit, like, busier with Travis on there. But other than that, like, it's pretty much the same fucking song, but with Jerry, it sounds like something off of Enema versus with Mark Trombino, it sounds like something off of Dude Ranch. Mark Trombino was the producer for Dude Ranch, for those that don't know.
Yes, and it just shows how crazy different producers can make a song sound so different because different kind of band. But I remember, there is a Jerry Finn version of Hit or Miss by Newfound Glory, and it sounds like really different from versions we all know.
Yeah, so like it like producers are they are like still pretty much band members because producers do have a lot to say into what goes into a song. I remember I was talking to a friend who said that there's a huge difference between a producer and an engineer. Engineer is just, here's the music, mix it together, and then they do it. But a
Hmm.
producer will like help like literally produce the song. Like they'll help write it. They'll help tell you what you need to change, what they think might sound better.
They'll tell you to cut this out, try this instead, do
And
this,
in
play your
it,
bass like this.
yeah, in addition to taking the song and mixing it together.
Hmm. They change the tone of the song. They change any vocal effects you could possibly have.
Yeah,
You really don't like maybe to the naked ear or something, or people that are not really in. I guess never worked with a producer don't really understand how crazy in depth producers really are.
I know it's insane. And
Yeah, like
that's what I was trying to say earlier with like John Feldman, where like yeah, producers they do have their own signature style, but like with John Feldman, it's almost like it's almost like a factory line, so to speak. Like you're gonna get this specific sound if you hire Feldman as a producer.
yes, and then Blink obviously broke up, and there was Plus 44 and Angel Airs who both had their moderate to mainstream success. I mean, plus I feel like Angel Airs was definitely bigger than Plus 44 though.
Oh, absolutely. Because Angels and Airwaves, like I still like Angels and Airwaves are kind of like Blink, where people that don't even know the genre still listen to and like Angels and Airwaves. Like
Yeah, like
my one friend, he I don't even think he knows pop punk is a thing. He probably he looks at it as like rock, but he
mhm.
loves Angels and Airwaves.
Yeah, I feel like Plus 44 is literally just like you like Blink? Well, here's this. It's almost like a DLC pack at that point.
Fucking DLC pack.
I'm just saying. I mean, that's what when your heart stops beating by Plus 44 sounds like. It's just kind of an extended version of the Mark songs on the Untitled album. And Plus 44 didn't really have that big of a mainstream success because their very first tour after releasing, you know, where your heart when your heart stops beating in the Philly Camden area, they were playing in the TLA.
Yeah,
Just shows
and
how much pull the Blink name has.
that's like super weird because that's not only Mark, but it's
And
also
Travis.
Travis. Yeah.
And this is only like 2 years after Blink broke up, so they were still like in the limelight. They were still like big names, not just they were like these guys came coming out of retirement for a couple nostalgia tours. Like they were still big names at the top of their game per se, for
Yeah,
lack of a better term.
because the time frame for this was in between the self-titled album and Neighborhoods. So like 2008, 2009 was the time frame for Plus 44.
Yeah, like,
And
well, When Your Heart Stops Beating was like '06, but they haven't done anything.
yeah, oh yeah, that's right. It was '06, wasn't it?
Yeah,
My bad. I was thinking it was like a lot later.
nah, man, because Blink got back together in '09.
Yeah, that's right, because that's when the plane crash happened.
Yes, and 'cause I remember right around that time is when there was gonna be a new Plus 44 album in the works, but then Blink-182 got back together, so Plus 44 went to the back burner because Mark Hoppus loves money.
Which I just want to say real quick about the plane crash. And this is all just speculation. None of this is fact, but I wonder if the plane crash had any lasting effects on Travis. Do you ever notice when you see them play live now, Travis almost looks like he's like in pain or like out of breath or something. And I wonder if that has to do with the plane crash.
I mean, he did get a bunch of skin grafts and everything, so, I mean, I'm sure there's definitely something there, have it be physically or mentally, I'm sure,
Yeah, 'cause I mean, obviously, like obviously when the plane crash first happens, like you're gonna be in fucking pain. You survived the plane crash. I'm just wondering if it had any lasting effects. So that's just something I noticed when I was watching when they played TwitchCon last year. Since I wasn't actually there in person, I watched the stream of it on Twitch, and yeah, I just couldn't help but notice, dude. He looked like he was like in pain while he was drumming, like it was hurting him. And like, I mean, I know the dude plays some crazy shit, but like, he never looked like that before. And I wonder if that plane crash had anything to do with it.
I mean, he has, like, PTSD and had, like, 18 surgeries or something, or that could just be his per se, his focused face.
Like that's exactly what it could be too, which is why I said like I know he doesn't play like Like if you're listening to like a Travis Barker song, it's gonna be like, you know, like that's my impression of drums. So like he could just be focused. I don't know, but it if you look at like old videos, it doesn't look like he's making that kind of like in pain looking face, you know?
Yeah, I mean, once again, all speculation, but
Yeah, like
I can definitely see where you're going for.
all speculation. Not trying to take any of this as fact. Just going by like what I saw and just like wondering. But that was just a little aside. But
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
but like 44 Angels and Airwaves just to kind of is like pretty much an extension of the Untitled album because Plus 44 was essentially just the Mark songs, but more. And then Angels and Airs was pretty much like what you would hear off of a Tom song on Untitled, but just taken to like 11. Like it was more experimental, it was more space rocky, it was way more creative per se. You know what I mean?
honestly, I definitely think It Hurts. Until I received confirmation otherwise, It Hurts was supposed to go on the self-titled, but they cut it because they already had too many songs.
Or it could have been a work for a future Blink album, you know?
Yeah, so Tom took it and just put it on Angels and Airwaves because that sounds exactly like something you would hear on the self-titled album. I can hear Mark singing the little parts. He's like, "It hurts, it hurts, it hurts," before Tom kicks in with the fucking verses.
Yeah, so I mean, like I definitely feel like a lot of those songs could have been potential leftovers or some or like working tracks they were working on for a Pink album in an alternate universe that never happened because they broke up. You know what I mean?
Uh huh.
Then they get back together, and Neighborhoods was a smashing success, reached number 2 on the Billboard charts.
Which,
Sold, you know,
yep, that was another album that I hated when it was new. But again, with looking back with hindsight, I actually really like it. Natives is probably, I don't know if it's top five, but it's definitely top 10 Blink songs for me.
yeah, it sold a lot because once again, you throw Blink-182 on anything, they are too big to fail.
Yeah,
They're still
exactly.
gonna sell. They're gonna play in these giant arenas because they are too big to fail. And obviously, I mean, some of that could be chalked up to people were just excited because a new Blink album was coming out, but a lot of that to do because the Blink name is extremely marketable. They got the number 2 on the Billboard charts and started playing arena tours when Angel and Airwaves was playing the TLA.
Uh huh.
And this is kind of going to my next thing where it's like, because as we all know, and then they released Dogs Eating Dogs, which was the final release with Tom DeLonge, and that was like got to 23 on the charts, which is a dip, but it's to be expected. It was a 5-song EP with like no physical release or anything, or no music video, no real singles. That's a pretty big thing. Blink sells, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, just the name sells. Yeah, they're bigger than the genre. You probably got people who be like, "Yeah, I love that Blink-182 type shit," and you're like, "Oh, so you like pop punk?" And they're like, "What the fuck is pop punk?"
Essentially, what I do, I go like pop punk, like what's that? I'm like Blink-182. They're like, oh, okay, yeah, I know that stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but
Like,
like
yeah,
Blink is just
they're just bigger than the genre. The name will sell.
too big to fail.
Yeah, which is basically what it kind of boils down to with Mark. Is it? Yeah, it definitely kind of feels like he's just using the name to try and like get more money.
And play stadium tours because Mark Hoppus loves money, and this is where I go to. Blink-182 will sell. Neighborhoods was number 2 on the Billboard. Dog Dog was 23, which is big for an EP with like no music video, no singles or anything. Because when Tom left, the most logical response is, oh, I guess Plus 44 is back on the menu, boys, or let's make a supergroup with Matt Skiba. But no, Blink 182 continue to live on because Mark Hoppus loves money and so he hired a bunch of songwriters to make a subpar album.
Yeah, and I want to say real quick because like this might almost sound a little hypocritical because like I said, I understand Gotta Eat, I respect Gotta Eat. You know, something like Fallout Boy, it's okay when they do it. Like you know, like so why isn't it okay when Blink does it? Well, my simple thing on that is if Fallout Boy never played ball, if they just kept making From Under the Cork Tree like part two, part three, part four, part five, part six, they would just be like you were saying last week, they would just be another yellow card. They would there's kind of be like another band that had their 15 minutes and then kind of just got like lost in the sea of other pop punk emo bands.
Yes, because before California even came out, Mark Hoppus and Tom DeLonge and Travis all had like net worth of like $80 million. So they were not hurting. And as we saw with Dogs Eating Dogs, even when they play like a weird hybrid of just clashing genres, because I feel like that album was just kind of, for lack of a better term, neighborhoods was like kind of thrown together almost in a way where like it
Yeah, I
didn't really feel like
mean,
connected.
it was self-produced, and if I recall, they all like recorded their parts separately in their own homes.
They just emailed them to Tom and then Tom threw it together.
Yeah,
Like, that still sold. That still got to number 2 on the Billboard chart. So obviously Blink sells. It doesn't matter what they put out, they will sell.
yeah,
And, what you're saying with like Fall Out Boy, like they released Take This to Your Grave. They were playing at at a Knights of Columbus Hall.
yeah. Yeah, they're
It was
playing
like
there.
a
They're
big
like, it was so small that I'm pretty sure the video that we watched of it on YouTube was like filmed from behind them, like
yeah, I know, just like
a dude like on stage with them.
yeah, I know, just filming them. But like, yeah, but like, California, I give that a pass because I'll be the first one to admit I was a Mark Hoppus fanboy. I always said
Yeah,
Tom was a cancer. I always say new Blink is going to be better than anything they put out in the last 16, 17 years because I like Alkaline Trio. I enjoy From Here to Infirmary quite a bit.
yeah. Private
And I
Eye's a
thought
banger.
and I thought Skiba was going to kind of bring it back to a plus 44 route, and I was very excited. And then, with John Feldman, I gave that a pass because, since I worked with other producers, that I know that they can be a little hands-on-y, so he probably just did some stuff, blah, blah, blah. But, once the new album hype died out, it was an alright album. But then I heard The Knife by Goldfinger, then I realized this is just John Feldman with the Blink Boys collecting a paycheck.
Yeah,
I don't know what it, I
you
don't
know
know.
what? No, go ahead, go ahead.
Like, I don't know what about it, but, like, now that I listen back to it, like, the songs just lack soul, they lack personality, the joke songs are so forced because John Feldman was probably like, "Hey, Mark, remember in '99 you had that song about the dog? These kids are gonna love this song, it's about naked guys on a pool. How's that? That's hilarious."
Yeah, the joke songs, they sound so forced on the album. Cause like the joke songs from like, like the early 2000s, like they were funny. I don't know, like they didn't feel forced. It's just about like this is just Blink. This is just who they are. This is just like, just the extension of their personality. This is art. But
Yeah,
like
Tom DeLonge, he's dirty, he's foul-mouthed, it was fun, you could definitely tell that they were just having a good time doing it.
oh, and don't even get me started on the live shows. Like, I've never been to a Blink show where Tom was still in the band, but I've seen them on YouTube. You were basically watching a lover's spat with music in between.
It's fantastic, 'cause I saw them once with Tom, it was our very first reunion show back in '09.
Yeah, their show with Matt, because we both saw Blink when they were playing with Matt. It was a very safe. Like, Mark Hoppus was trying to say some funny shit, but it was like very safe.
It was like 50.
Yeah.
He's wearing a Simpsons shirt, which is the definition of like old guy trying to be cool. The Simpsons were popular when he was a kid.
So they must be popular with the kids now. Boy,
Yeah, but
yeah, this is the
it's
joke
like
songs on the new album. I guess it doesn't mesh because Blink hasn't tried to be funny like with their songs, or haven't tried to be like upbeat since like 2001. Like the self-titled album was pretty dark. Neighborhoods was
serious.
pretty serious. And in California, like it's not as dark or serious as the self-titled or Neighborhoods, but it's very like alternative-y and
Yeah.
very like I guess poppy in some places. So the joke songs just sound out of place. They just sound so forced.
Yes, because they probably realize, hey, we're back and better than ever. So let's kind of give the fans something they wanted to hear for the longest time. So a joke song.
Yeah, like
And also,
hey, you guys fucking love the fucking dog in the ass song, so you'll like this.
I know it just sounds so like just so forced, and the
And
song don't the
yeah,
song.
like they also sound like Bohemian Rhapsody almost kind of sounds like lazy because it's just it's a guitar riff, which admittedly the guitar riff is very cool. I wish it was a full song, but it's just a guitar riff, and then I'm saying like a one liner, and then that's it.
about a finger in the butt. Okay, okay. Oh, ha, 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 funny.
Yeah,
Like the
yeah.
song, the only thing that matters. A song infuriates me.
I know why, but why don't you tell everybody else why it infuriates
Okay,
you?
let me tell you, because if you know the song, the only thing that matters, track 14 off of California, written by Hoppus, Barker, Skiba, and of course John Feldman, because God forbid they do anything without the man, because they're washed up apparently, or they just want money. But the song, the only thing that matters, the chorus of the song, like, and someday you'll come back to me, is a straight. I don't know what it was, a ripoff, a tribute to a song by Real Big Fish called, I believe it's called All I Want, if I'm not mistaken. Correct?
You know what? Keep talking. I'm gonna Wikipedia it real quick, and I'm
And just
gonna.
confirm or deny it. 'Cause you know the name of the song I'm talking about, right?
I know this. Yeah, I forget its name, but I know exactly what song you're talking about.
Yes, but that song is just like it's a minute 30 sec. It's a less than 2 minute song,
We're talking about the Blink
and it's
song,
like
not the Real Big Fish song, right?
yeah, the only thing that matters is a 1 minute 57 song. It's just a song, and the chorus is you need co-writers to write a simple pop punk song, something that I can do in like 30 minutes, if that. If
All
I
I
really want to
want,
force it out.
all I want is more is the name of the song.
Yeah, so and then they just kind of rip off an entire chorus. I mean, I don't know if it's a rip off because I know Feldman was like friends with Real Big Fish, so I don't know if he was trying to give him a tribute or something. But it just expounds what this album represents. It's just this lazy, safe album. And at the time, I gave an excuse because it's the first album back in 5 years, and it's the first one without Tom, so it makes sense to play it safe. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. You don't want to go too crazy and like just give Skiba like everything, turn it into Alkaline Trio with little Blink elements, because then that would just put everybody off. So a safe album, yeah. Like in their case, yeah, I would definitely give the whole safe thing a pass. Like I have my opinions on safe albums, but in their case, I think they were kind of like excusable to do it.
Yeah. The first album 5, 6 years. You got it was their first release without Tom DeLonge, and there was a lot of backlash. So it makes sense that you kind of want to do something that takes you back to the good old days of Blink, for lack of a better term.
Yeah,
Then when Nine came out, ho 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 ho, that's a whole new story.
yeah. Nine. And I would just like to spectate, like, not speculate. I just want to throw out there are a couple songs off of Nine that I enjoy. I like that Pin the Grenade song. It sounds very neon-y with a slight alternative twist. So I like to say nice things before I rip into something.
Okay, well,
Okay,
first of all, just to get that song had 7 writers on it.
I know, and that's so like for the record. Okay, for the record, I don't think outside songwriters inherently is bad because you want to bring in people that you know are going to help your song sell. So I get that, but in Blink's case, like that song "Generational Divide" is like 45 seconds. It's just power chords and the same lyrics over and over again. And then you look it up and it has like 7 songwriters.
It's like it took you 7 people. You're paying millions of dollars to make a 50-second song. Where do you get off? And that's supposed to be a song of like rebellion, like being a punk and not giving an F. But you got 4 different guys outside your band to write it. What does that say about you, Mark Hoppus?
In case you guys couldn't tell, Ed's very opinionated about this. I am
Album in
opinionated about
particular
it
too.
too, but
Then
he's
Dark Side, that music video, that sealed the deal with me. When I saw that music video, Dark Side, I was sickened. I was disgusted. It's a bunch of kids Fortnite dancing. Okay, we know Fortnite sells. Everybody loves Ninja. I don't need a song about a girl being dressed in black with a little kid flossing nonstop. Give me a break. I just threw something across the room right now.
Yeah, you can't see because I don't have my webcam up, and you can't hear it because I'm kind of laughing quietly. But I am behind here laughing so fucking hard at Ed's like rant right now.
Oh, and also, Blame It On My Youth.
Oh yeah,
What
no, blame it
is
on
that?
my youth. Yeah, because like you know how when a new song comes out and it's not that great, but you got the new song hype that's telling you like, yo, new Blink, this is gonna be fucking awesome. I got that with Bored to Death, right? Like looking back was kind of it was whatever. But I remember like when it came out, I was like, yes, Blink is back, baby. But when Blame It On My Youth came out, I didn't even have new song hype, really. I was just like, yeah, what? This is not Blink.
A pop song.
It's just a pop song, which I'd like to just specify real quick, because on the past couple episodes we have been ripping into like pop songs from pop punk bands. I don't think pop by itself is bad. I actually really enjoy some pop music. I just like the thing I'm really getting into, like with Fall Out Boy's pop, Blink's pop, is it's just not my style of pop, I should say. So if I'm saying it's awful, it's not because I'm one of them grouchy old men like, that pop music is terrible. It's just that style I'm not really into. And in Blink's case, it's just kind of them trying to be something they're not.
Yes, but here's my thing with like Blink. It's like gotta eat. I respect it. I do not
Yeah.
blame anybody. But when you already have 90 million in the bank and everything you do is like top 5 on the Billboard charts, what are you trying to accomplish here? Like, it's either Mark Hoppus is so washed up that he can't write a simple pop punk song that takes 2 minutes and a half to make, or he's just such an a whore for money that he crawls for it. It's like I don't get it. It's like you don't need 7 guys to make the song the first time, which just sounds like dump weed and feeling this mashed together.
Yeah, and it's also kind of funny because you try so hard to stay relevant. And then like you try too hard that you kind of lose a little bit of like what makes you so good in the first place. Like I'm trying to think, like, because we gotta eat, like, I respect it when a band does it, cool. But I feel like in Blink's case, it's not very genuine, Like, it just seems like, like, we're trying to be relevant, we're trying to make it for like we want the kids to enjoy it. And it kind of reminds me almost of not like another band, but it kind of reminds me of like Halo almost. Because like Halo 1, 2, 3, amazing games. And then Halo 4, they tried to mix it up because they wanted to stay relevant. So they tried to make it a little bit like Call of Duty. They brought in like loadouts. They brought like it felt more like Call of Duty than it felt like a Halo game. The maps were kind of not that great. And then Halo 5, they tried to make it like Destiny, because Destiny was pretty big, like right around the time that Halo 5 came out. So it felt like a lot like Destiny, like the controls were exactly like Destiny, which I did not notice until I played Destiny 2, and I was like, yo, this feels like Halo 5. And
Yeah, little did you know Halo 5 felt like Destiny.
yeah, and in doing that, they actually, like, ironically kind of killed Halo, because I remember Halo 4 actually sold very well when it came out. But within the first month, the player base dropped off so hard.
Because at that point, it just became another run-of-the-mill shooter. There's no heart. That doesn't
Well,
bring
yeah,
what Halo
it's not
of
even
the
that.
table.
It's not even that. Although I do agree, but it's not even that. It's just it doesn't feel like Halo anymore. It was like weird. And I will say, as a Halo fan, I still do enjoy Halo 4, but I will even admit it's definitely my least favorite in the whole series. And yeah, like Blink, like they're Blink, so they're gonna sell regardless. But I feel like if they're not careful, they could go down that same road. I feel like they already have a little bit with 9, because 9 is kind of like it's not a flop, but like I feel like I don't ever.
It came to number 3 on the Billboard chart.
Yeah,
So like
so
I said, it's gonna sell.
yeah, it's not a flop, but I feel like I really don't hear people talking about it. Like I still hear people talking about California, and I feel like I never really hear anybody talking about 9, unless they're talking about how like weird it is.
Yeah, the only time I ever bring up 9 is making fun that it took 8 guys to make 8 guys to make a 45-second punk song with the same lyrics on repeat.
So like now obviously 9, like it sold very well, but if you kind of kill that goodwill and you got people either ripping on your album, or even worse, not talking about your album, then that could actually like maybe not be very good for their next album. Because if they continue down that path of we're gonna kind of screw over like what made us Blink in the first place, and people just aren't going to be into it. Because I'd even argue with Fall Out Boy, like obviously their pop shit is very different from Take This to Your Grave, and very different from from under the cork tree, but it still kind of almost does feel genuine because you gotta think like Pete Wentz was essentially like a pop star in 2005. Like he was on the cover of like Teen Vogue. You know,
yeah,
like
man, everybody loved him.
yeah, they all like. So it still feels genuine, but for Blink, it doesn't. And
Well, Patrick Stump's also an extremely talented guy whose voice fits it. You know what I mean?
yeah, that and like his solo stuff was like very it was like almost like I think like soul and like funk.
I'm pretty sure
So
Patrick Stump did stuff with like Bruno Mars and stuff. So I think he just genuinely enjoys like that poppy
yeah,
R&B kind of
yeah,
style per se.
and he was on a Maroon 5 song. It was in the background, so like I don't even think it says like featuring Patrick Stump, but like I remember reading and yeah, on the song Wake Up Call, he sings like backup vocals on that song. So yeah, so like yeah, it still feels genuine. Like I know like they're like the biggest example of like when a band goes gotta eat, but it still feels genuine, and I think that's part of why it worked out so well. With Blink, it just feels like Mark's like, you know what? I like money. I have a lot of it, but I want even more of it.
And Travis is like, it's either this or I'm climbing with Jay-Z. So
So either way, it's whatever.
yeah, and then Skiba's like, I haven't seen this much money all my life, so
Yeah,
sure thing.
yeah. Like if this podcast ever makes its way to Matt Skiba, yo, I don't blame you at all. I get it. I would be the same way in this scenario.
Yeah, but with like Mark Hoppus, like I have the Mark Hoppus signature bass since 9 came out. I don't even like taking pictures of the bass. 'Cause the one dude at work plays the bass, and he was like, "Yo, send me a picture of your setup." So I just sent him a picture of the amp. What bass you have? I'm like, "Oh, it's at my friend's house." Because Jimmy, because our one friend, has the white made in Japanese jazz bass, which I was using, and yeah, so I don't even like even having the Hoppus being associated with that man.
Yeah, and it's funny because like me and him both were very like pro Mark, anti Tom. Like I remember thinking like, yeah, Tom is the reason that Neighborhoods and the self-titled sounded the way it is. And with him gone, maybe we'll get another Take Off Your Pants and Jacket. Maybe we'll get another Enema. Or more realistically, we'll probably get something more like Plus 44.
I love Plus 44. I think Plus 44 is the best thing Mark Hoppus has been a part of since Take Off Your Pants and Jacket, personally.
Yeah, you know what, I agree. Unless you count because he did produce a Newfound Glory album. So if you count that as being a part of it,
I mean, like him singing and playing bass, and
fair enough.
I'm not talking about like his whole production stuff. I'm just talking about Mark Hoppus is the preeminent. Like I'm not listening to No Way, Not Without a Fight because I go, oh, Mark Hoppus is hitting record.
Yeah, fair enough.
Really, because it's one of my favorite Newfound albums, and those songs go hard.
But yeah, no, I remember thinking like, with Tom gone, this is only like good things for Blink. Like things are looking up. Little did I know. And again,
Girl is a banger.
Yeah, I prefer
Tell is a banger.
I prefer New Angels and Airwaves to New Blink, and that's something I never thought I would say because like
Shadows.
Angels and Airwaves, their first album is like decent. I'm not super into the whole spacey thing, but like it's all right. And after that, I'm like, yo, this is kind of whack. But their new stuff actually sounds pretty good. It sounds better than New Blink, in my opinion.
Kiss and Tell's great. Rebel Girl's great. The Chasing Shadows EP, like Overload and Voyager, they're great songs. They sound like they should just be like they have like Blink riffs. They have that charm that from Tom DeLonge. Those catchy riffs.
Yeah, and Tom DeLonge's like self-titled album he put out, To the Stars, it's got some weird songs on it, but like, dude, the good songs off that album are like really good. Like they sound like they could be Blink songs.
Like Golden Showers in the Golden State. Sounds
okay,
like
so the lyrics for that song are alarming when you're 45, but you know what? I don't even fucking care because that song is funny and it sounds like Blink-182, like
it's a banger in
real
the
Blink-182. Yeah. And it's in the KB. And Endless Summer is another really good song off that album. Again, it sounds like it could be like in an alternate universe where they didn't kick out Tom DeLonge and then they made California with Tom on it. Endless Summer sounds like something that would be on that album, as well as Golden Showers in the Golden State.
Yeah, that was gonna be like the joke song to close out the album, like saying bye everybody. Back.
Yeah. but weirdly enough, it doesn't sound forced. Like it sounds like what the fuck? This dude's in his mid-40s, but it doesn't sound forced.
I know, and like the lyrics. Ever play them out loud in front of like strangers because I don't want to be on a watch list. But
I distinctly remember one of the lyrics being about pooping on someone's cousin.
yeah, on their chest, and they're talking about something that dad's penis is. It's all. I don't want to say it too loud because mother's upstairs. I don't want her thinking, okay, this son's got to get the hell out of my house. But you know the song. Everybody doesn't know the song. Google it on YouTube. It's pretty prevalent. It's a great song though.
Oh, it's amazing. Yeah, and even though I don't necessarily think Tom was the mastermind behind old school Blink, I definitely think he's what kept them. He's what kept them from Mark's tyranny, as I'll call it.
Yes.
Like he kept like the little he kept like the artsiness to it, which I'm not an artsy type dude, so I don't look for that type of stuff. I actually prefer I would prefer pop music to like weird experimental shit. But I don't know, with Blink, like like artsy experimentalness mixed with like Mark's gotta eat pop type attitude, like blend together, made beautiful pop punk and weird but still pretty good like pop punk slash kinda alternative in on the self-titled and on Neighborhoods. I wouldn't really say space rock. I don't really think they got too spacey with Blink.
Oh yeah, I was just about just in general.
Well, I was just saying, like they're like combined sounds, their combined like personalities made just beautiful music.
Yeah, and Mark's still making money, so he's happy, and Tom is just being an artist because he has 80 million in the bank.
Yeah, he's trying to fly to the moon, I think.
And he also has multimedia, like when he makes a song, it's not just a song; it has to have a comic book or a short film attached to it, or a children's book.
Yeah, like kind of like Coheed. Because
Yeah,
I'm not gonna say too much about it because I don't want to get off topic because this is a BLINK-182 episode. But with Coheed is every single one of their albums except for I think their newest one they're all like concept albums that are set to the lead singer Claudio his comic book series. It's called the Amory Wars. I've never read it, but I hear it's actually pretty solid if you're into that type of stuff.
and it's funny because Love Part One and Part Two by Angels and Airwaves got a full blown like science fiction drama film.
Jesus.
Had a $500,000 budget.
My goodness.
But I mean, it grossed 1.5 million. So I mean, there was a.
Yeah, they definitely made a profit off of that.
But I'm just saying, but like, that's just the kind of stuff Tom likes. Like to him, it's not just a band; it's like a media, the whole media thing.
Yeah. Oh no. Yeah. No, I'm not out here. Like I definitely think Tom definitely has his own little like weirdness. Like I think that dude. I think something's just not right in his head because I'm pretty sure you're the one that told me he's like $60 million in debt because he's like legitimately trying to build a rocket ship.
Well, yeah, because
Like
he has like the To the Stars or something like that, and he's like, I don't know if he's in debt or the company's in debt, but involved with him
yeah,
is in a lot of debt.
He's trying to like legitimately build a rocket ship or something to go like into space. I remember I'll never forget when when people used to call Tom like a UFO nut or like addicted to aliens. I used to think they were just making fun of they're just making fun of like how Angels and Airwaves is kind of like spacey, like space rock.
Of course, the Aliens Exist song too.
But then I started like actually listening to some interviews with him, and no, he actually really is like into UFOs and like is addicted to aliens. I'm pretty sure a part of like those like emails with Hillary Clinton, not trying to get political, but just for the sake of the conversation, one of them was her trying to contact Tom DeLonge about finding aliens. So this dude is
Yes.
definitely like, yeah, like this man does love UFOs and aliens and shit. It goes beyond just the space rock sound that Angels and Airwaves is known for.
Yes, his company called To the Stars Academy of Arts and Sciences, according to the SEC, which is the Securities and Exchange Commissions, big government stuff. The company reported has incurred losses from operations that accumulated a deficit of as June 2018 of $37 million in debt.
Damn.
Yeah, but it is funny though because the Pentagon did declassify 3 videos of captured UFOs DeLong has recorded.
I know, dude. I fucking love that. I thought that was just a meme, but that's not a meme? Like they
No,
literally have
that's a
videos.
legit thing of the Pentagon saying, "Yep, these are UFOs," and DeLong was the one recording them or something like that.
Damn.
And I also like how he was a producer for the History Channel television show Unidentified Inside America's UFO Investigation.
So Tom definitely he definitely has his own quirks.
Per
But yeah,
se,
but yeah, I definitely his like artsy like quirkiness mixed with Mark's full blown like gotta eat like poppiness. Just they're like yin and yang. You can't have. Well, I guess you can have one without the other because, like I said, New Angels and Airways is actually pretty good. But
mhm,
yeah, I don't know. I think Blink suffers from no Tom.
absolutely,
Tom's like the pop punk Kanye.
exactly.
They
Because
they suffer without his genius.
I mean, he did say in that one video from like before Dude Ranch when he said, everything good that happens out of this band is because of me."
At the time, we just think, huh, that's just
He's
Tom being
funny.
funny. But then you realize you're like, shit, he might have been right.
Yeah, because 9 happened.
Yeah, because 9 happened when he wasn't in the band anymore, and then yeah. So
Well, God bless Tom DeLonge. That's all I gotta say.
yeah, good for
That's my
him.
closing remarks.
And yeah, like, and this might have been a little bit more of a ranty episode because me and Ed, we definitely both have our opinions on Blank, and in particular Mark Hoppus. Um, yeah, I think they just gotta tread lightly because if they're not careful, like obviously Blink will sell no matter what, but if they're not careful, they can end up like Halo. There was a time where people thought like, oh yeah, Halo's gonna sell just because it's Halo, and now look at Halo in 2020. Like people are hyped for Halo Infinite. Halo Infinite looks cool, but now people are thinking like, yo, this is Halo's last chance. If Halo fucks up, they're done forever.
And I think a lot of that has to do with because it's gonna be the next gen console. So that's a different topic for a different time.
Yeah, well, yeah, no, that's a different discussion. I'm just saying to draw parallels.
Oh yeah, for
You would
sure.
have never thought that in 2006 because Halo 2 was like, yeah, it is like bigger than games. People just be like,
Mhm.
oh, you're playing your Halos, and it sounds crazy. Like you go into 2006, you think, yo, Halo's gonna be like dead as fuck one day. People be looking at you like you're fucking crazy. But yeah, in 2020, if Infinite doesn't like, bring back Halo's like name and shit, then Halo is gonna be kind of dead. And I feel like if Blink aren't careful, they could end up like that. Like someone who had like they were like superstars, but then they kind of made some shitty decisions, and then they just become a nostalgia act. Now I know with music it's a little different. Music definitely has a longer shelf life, and music, like I don't think they're ever going to be nobodies, but they could very easy, if they're not careful, end up a nostalgia act. If they don't because I think they're trying too hard. They're trying too hard to be relevant, and I think it's kind of biting them in the ass.
Yeah, I feel like they're already kind of a nostalgia act at one point because I don't see anybody getting hyped up when they bust out cynical
Yeah, and that's actually a shame
or
because I
bored to
feel like
death or dark side.
Cynical probably is their best song uh post
Long,
second reunion.
yeah, post along, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's a good song and for the best of the Feldman era, but it's just like
Yeah, and I don't think John Feldman is the one that like kind of ruined Blink. Because again, he's just a man chasing his bag. I get it. He's a pop producer first and foremost. I feel like maybe Mark Hoppus should have just maybe he shouldn't have hired him. But I don't see that as Feldman's problem. That's Mark Hoppus's problem. Yeah, it's me.
yeah, and it's like it's either like he just wants the bag, even more money Hoppus does, or he's just so freaking washed up he doesn't know how to write a song anymore because that Simple Creatures band is terrible.
Yeah, I'm not too crazy about Simple Creatures either. I tried listening to them and they're like this is everything I don't like about New Era Blink with none of the things that I actually do like. Because again, like I said, I know I was a little ranty this episode talking about what I don't like about Blink and how I'm like afraid that if they don't change they're gonna be screwed. But there are certain songs that I like from the like I said, I like Cynical. I like that song Rabbit Hole. And
Never mind.
and I do like that song Pin the Grenade, even if there's like 90 writers on it. So there definitely is elements of New Blink that I like. But Simple Creatures, yeah, it's like everything I don't like about New Blink with none of the things that I do like about New Blink.
Yeah, I mean, just for one more thing I say, I have a problem with a band releasing subpar music because I know that making good music and is hard and art is subjective that like what I like somebody else could love.
Oh yeah, no, I'm sure there's probably gonna be someone watching this episode that thinks we're fucking assholes.
I mean
Cause like,
that one girl at the concert did my boot at Dark Side.
yeah, she gave you the 30th look. But yeah, it's not my fucking fault. Darkside's
Yeah,
kind
but
of
it's just
poopy.
like I understand bands are never gonna be as good as they once were. Like at least go down like a man, like and don't hire like 5 songwriters. That's all I'm saying.
Well, if you're on that Blink level, because again, I feel like if Fall Out Boy did this, I wouldn't be like too mad. Because again, gotta secure that MF bag. You know what I mean? But yeah, I don't know. With Blink, it's like yeah, you're already rolling out in like Rolls Royces and shit.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, if your music career tanks tomorrow, like if you put out an album that just sells poorly, and it comes to the point where like they have to stop Blink, like they have to retire. I'm sure Mark Hoppus is still gonna never have to work a job a day in his life ever again.
Well, the only way he has like $80 million. He has generational wealth.
Yeah, he has $80 million, and yeah, he's already like 50. So there's no way in hell he's gonna spend that all in his life unless he's stupid and buys like fucking like 80 yachts.
Yeah, but even so, all he has to do is drop another album with frickin' Feldy, and he'll get some of that back.
Yeah. So like, yeah, I don't know. And maybe I was a little bit of a hypocrite this episode, but I don't know. I feel like with Blink,
You're not a hypocrite, T. Don't cave in.
I feel like I don't know. I feel like they're a little different because they can put out whatever and it'll sell.
Yeah, like Neighborhoods was number 2.
Yeah, Neighborhoods was number 2, and that was probably their most experimental album.
Yes, in California was 1.
Yeah, and California was number 1. So I feel like no matter what they do, they're gonna sell. But again, that's up to them. I just don't want to see them become a nostalgia act because they are still relevant. Like people do still like Blink. Like I said, Travis Barker is still making waves in the like the hip hop scene, which is obviously a little different than pop punk, but it's still keeping his name relevant.
Yeah,
It's still keeping him in the mainstream, even if people know him as MGK's drummer. Because I've seen that a few times. I've seen like people on TikTok be like, "Yo, MGK's drummer going hard."
Hey, though, it still keeps
But
Blink-182.
hey, even if they don't know his name, they still fucking know who he is.
Yeah, and me and you both have a similar like agenda that like we really don't care how. We just want to see like pop punk to be like mainstream and like big again per se.
Yeah. So you know what? Maybe we are kind of being hypocrites. If Blink if we're wrong and Blink is actually keeping their names in the fucking mainstream, good for them. But yeah, I don't know. Me personally, my like My opinion is just, yeah, Mark Hoppus is changing a little too much about Blink. It doesn't sound like Blink anymore.
Because it's just because he wants Blink to be around because he wants money. Because if they were under Plus 44 or under some new project with just Askiba and their work is called Hollow End or some random name like that, they'll be playing at the TLA right now as we speak.
Yeah, yeah, you're not wrong about that. Because with Plus 44, like, they had Mark and Travis, and they were still playing. Angels and Airwaves is a TLA band.
Yes,
They play like those smaller venues like
playing
that.
at
They
like the
don't.
Fulton or some the wherever
Yeah,
the smaller arena at the near the casino is in Philly.
yeah. They don't play like the big venues. So
Blink does at the BB&T.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, you know what? Yeah, I want to hear your guys' opinions in the comments. Do you think, um, do you like what Mark's doing with Blink? Do you not like that he's kind of turned Blink into sort of like a weird zombie? Let me know in the comments. I'm
Void of
I'm,
all
I'm
life and
curious.
passion.
I'm curious about that. Yeah. Um. Well, yeah, I think that's gonna be about wrap that one up for today.
Mhm.
Thank you again for being a part of the show, Mr. Mush.
Oh, no problem. Thank you for having me again, Mr. Will.
Absolutely. And yeah, you guys, we will catch you on the next
Next week.
one. Next Thursday at 3:30 if you're watching this on Twitch, that's Eastern. And then if you're watching this on YouTube, next Tuesday at noon. Peace.
See you, everybody. Bye bye.